Good evening. I'm your anchor for tonight's news. Here are tonight's top stories. A federal appeals court strikes down California's ban on openly carrying firearms, calling it unconstitutional. The Trump administration freezes childcare funding to all 50 states amid fraud allegations affecting millions of families nationwide. Tesla loses its position as the world's top electric vehicle maker to China's BYD. New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani signed a series of executive orders shortly after taking office, addressing issues such as housing policy and city investment practices. The measures include actions related to rent regulations and a review of municipal holdings, including investments connected to Israeli bonds. And a measles outbreak in South Carolina grows to 185 cases as the highly contagious virus resurges across the nation. These stories and more coming up. We begin tonight with a major legal development. A U.S. appeals court ruled yesterday that California's ban on openly carrying firearms in most public places is unconstitutional. The court cited the Second Amendment and argued there is no sufficient historical tradition to support such broad restrictions on gun rights. This decision is likely to have significant implications for gun legislation across the country. In other judicial news, a federal judge has ordered Brian Cole, the man accused of planting pipe bombs at both Democratic and Republican headquarters on the eve of the January 6th Capitol riot, to remain in custody without bail as his criminal case moves forward. Cole was arrested following a lengthy investigation into the attack that occurred 5 years ago. Turning now to health care, South Carolina health officials reported yesterday that a measles outbreak in the state's northwest region has grown to 185 cases. Of those infected, 172 were unvaccinated. This comes amid a broader national resurgence of the highly contagious virus, raising concerns among public health experts. In a controversial move drawing nationwide criticism, the Trump administration has frozen federal child care funding to all 50 states. The administration cites what it calls rampant fraud following a viral video that targeted Somali-owned daycares in Minnesota. Critics are calling this a scorched earth attack, warning it threatens essential services for millions of American families. Minnesota officials reported yesterday that child care centers targeted by the fraud allegations were operating as expected during site visits. President Trump addressed a recent Wall Street Journal article and said he considers his health to be strong. The 79-year-old president has faced questions about difficulty hearing and other age-related issues. Democratic leaders are calling for more transparency regarding his physical and mental fitness. Separately, the president has asked aides to streamline his schedule, saying the change is not tied to personal factors. In testimony before Congress, former special counsel Jack Smith stated that Judge Aileen Cannon's injunction prevented him from even reviewing his own report before his deposition, saying he was muzzled to avoid accusations of violating her order. New York City has a new mayor, and he's moving quickly. Zohran Mamdani was sworn in and immediately signed executive orders to freeze rents for nearly 1 million apartments across the city. Mayor Mamdani also began the process of divesting city pension funds from Israeli bonds and companies operating in occupied territories, fulfilling key progressive campaign promises made during his election. He rescinded all executive orders signed by former Mayor Eric Adams following Adams' indictment, pledging what he calls a bold progressive agenda centered on protecting working-class residents and providing free bus service. Overseas, nearly 20 Americans held in Venezuela were released on New Year's Day after a diplomatic agreement between the U.S. government and Venezuelan authorities. This marks a major breakthrough, with several individuals the U.S. had classified as wrongfully detained now returning home. Ukraine has issued a warning that Russia is planning false flag attacks on its own territory or in Belarus to blame Kyiv and potentially derail peace talks. Both sides face increasing pressure to find a diplomatic solution following the recent change in U.S. leadership. In the United Kingdom, the government has made two significant announcements. First, it suspended nearly 100 export licenses for components used by the Israeli military in Gaza, citing a clear risk they could be used to facilitate serious violations of international humanitarian law. Second, in a cost-cutting measure, the government will scrap the universal winter fuel payment for millions of pensioners, restricting the benefit only to those receiving pension credit or other means-tested support. The United States has committed $480 million in health funding to Ivory Coast as part of what's being called America First health deals, aimed at bolstering the African nation's healthcare infrastructure. The U.S. Justice Department and Louisville officials have reached a landmark federal settlement to overhaul the city's police department. The agreement follows a probe sparked by the 2020 killing of Breonna Taylor that revealed a pattern of civil rights violations and excessive force. In Louisiana, former detention officer David Corvell pleaded guilty to federal charges for sexually abusing a Nicaraguan woman in his custody. Corvell admitted to a months-long prohibited relationship that involved smuggling gifts and using lookouts to evade detection. Kentucky woman Melinda Spencer has been charged with first-degree fetal homicide after allegedly using online abortion medication to terminate a developed pregnancy at home and burying the infant's body in a shallow grave. A Homeland Security investigations agent fatally shot a suspect during an operation in Northridge, Los Angeles yesterday. While no officers were injured, local police are investigating the circumstances of the shooting. Reports have emerged that an ICE detainee was forced to grant agents access to her personal phone and social media accounts as part of expanded Trump administration screening policies, raising concerns over privacy and the handling of immigrants' digital data in federal custody. In entertainment news, the Stranger Things series finale became an unexpected box office success over the New Year's holiday. The final episode generated an estimated $25 to $30 million in revenue across 620 theater locations through a unique concession voucher system that allowed theaters to keep all proceeds. In the automotive industry, Tesla has lost its crown as the world's top-selling electric vehicle manufacturer. Chinese rival BYD has taken the lead following a 9% decline in Tesla's 2025 deliveries, fueled by stiff international competition and declining demand. We end tonight with the passing of a trailblazer. Diane Crump, the barrier-breaking jockey who in 1970 became the first woman to ride in the Kentucky Derby, died Thursday at age 77 following a battle with aggressive brain cancer. Crump leaves behind a legacy that paved the way for generations of female riders in horse racing.
Also tonight, a tragic incident in rural Colorado where a woman was killed by a mountain lion while walking her dog. The rare fatal attack led wildlife officials to track and euthanize the animal to ensure public safety.
And overseas, a devastating fire at a Swiss ski resort bar in Villars-sur-Olonne on New Year's Eve killed 19-year-old British student Jasper Inman and injured several others. The fire, reportedly sparked by indoor pyrotechnics, caused the ceiling to collapse during a party. That's our evening news for tonight. Thank you for joining us. Stay informed, stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow evening.